You've heard of Ted Bundy, you've heard of Jeffrey Dahmer, but what if the most prolific killer of our generation never swung a knife, never broke into a home, and never left a single blood stain at a crime scene? What if he wore a tie, smiled for the cameras, and shook hands with world leaders, while quietly orchestrating a genocide disguised as medicine? This isn't a theory, it's the truth, and his name is Wallace Kent. Wallace was born into money. His father was a silent shareholder in two pharmaceutical companies, and his mother was a behavioral psychologist who believed emotions were a weakness in the evolutionary chain. Wallace, their only son, grew up isolated. Tutors instead of friends. A rigid, glassy world of results, pressure, and control. He graduated Harvard Business School with honors, but honestly, his real education began after taking control of the family business, Kent RX, back in 1987. At the time, Kent RX was pretty small, just a niche painkiller distributor, but, Wallace wasn't interested in playing second fiddle. He wanted to create dependency. Not just chemically, but psychologically, too. He once told a boardroom of investors that a pill that fixes pain is good business, but a pill that creates pain unless consumed is a forever business. Most thought he was joking. He wasn't. That same year, Kent RX released a new drug, Ocelin. It was marketed as a revolutionary non-addictive painkiller. It was easy to take and fast to act. The ad read, "Better living through chemistry." Doctors loved it and sales exploded. And Wallace, he watched the charts rise like a predator watching prey. But inside the company, darker truths were emerging. Lab data revealed disturbing patterns. Addiction rates near 73%, withdrawal after just 5 doses, and in some cases, neurological damage. A junior analyst, Celia Boone, flagged these concerns in 1990. 2 weeks later, she was found dead, an apparent suicide. The note? Typed, signed, clean, way too clean. Kent RX issued condolences, they sent flowers, but, they quietly increased the dosage of Ocelin by 30%. By 1995, Ocelin was everywhere, nursing homes, schools, rehab centers, even the military. But, small towns began reporting some strange trends. Young men dropping dead in their sleep, children with withdrawal symptoms. A 9-year-old in Ohio was found unconscious with Ocelin in her bloodstream. When questioned, her mother said the girl just kept asking for one more. By 1997, the death toll reached 60,000. Still, no criminal charges. Wallace had turned Kent RX into more than a company. It was, honestly, a machine of influence. Bribed FDA officials, luxury retreats for doctors, political donations funneled through fake companies. A 2001 audit by the Department of Health mysteriously vanished. The lead auditor, disbarred. Later found living under a new name in Belize. But Wallace's darkest creation was still to come. In 2002, a former employee leaked a document called Project Lazarus. Hidden behind 10 levels of legal firewalls, it revealed a secret division testing new synthetic compounds on vulnerable populations. Addicts, the homeless, the mentally ill, rounded up through fake rehab clinics. They were promised treatment, but instead they were given experiments. Some were injected with early versions of Ocelin's successor, MK9. The side effects? Hemorrhaging eyes, organ failure, psychotic breaks. Others were given drug combinations that caused seizures. Survivors were silenced or disappeared. The bodies were destroyed in high-heat furnaces at a Kent RX research facility disguised as a veterinary clinic. So, in 2003, whistleblower Daniel Ridge came forward. He brought emails, video footage, and even a handwritten note from a test subject. Subject 47. It read, "He watches us from behind the mirror. We're dying in twos. I heard the doctor say I'm lucky. That means I'll die last." The media caught fire and protesters gathered. The FBI raided 3 Kent RX facilities. Wallace Kent? He was just gone. Surveillance showed him leaving headquarters about 2 hours before the raid. He was calm, even smiling, carrying a black suitcase. He entered a private terminal in Newark. And then, nothing. The jet, registered offshore, just disappeared. Flight logs erased. The man who built an empire from addiction had vanished. For years, there was silence. Until 2018, when a strange image surfaced on the dark web. A man at a cafe in Bogota, Colombia, balding, aged, but, unmistakably Wallace. Facial recognition confirmed a 97% match. The user who posted it vanished. Police later found their body in a motel bathtub with a USB drive lodged in the throat. On the drive, there's a 14-minute audio file. You can hear breathing, then some whispering. There's even the sound of paper rustling. And then, the voice comes through. I made gods from pills. I gave you suffering. You thanked me for it. Why would I stop? The voice laughed, soft and kind of shallow. It's like a man on the other side of a confession booth. That laugh, well, it's been identified as Wallace Kent's. Today, the FDA has approved a new miracle drug called Nexalin. It's marketed for chronic pain. Its structure? Well, it's nearly identical to Ocelin, manufactured by a company named LazerCorp, which is headquartered over in Zurich. The CEO is anonymous, and the board, well, it's empty, but, hidden in one of their early marketing PDFs, there's this obscure signature at the bottom of the terms page. Over 18,000 people have already died from Nexalin overdoses in the last 2 years. But there's no media coverage, no outrage, no documentaries. Because Wallace Kent didn't just kill, he engineered a system that needs people like him to exist. He turned death into dividends. His weapons weren't knives or guns, they were pills, patents, and lobbyists. So next time you pick up a prescription, look closer at the company name, because the billion-dollar butcher is still out there, and he's smiling.